welcome to another Sasha Day Game podcast. I'm here in Hong Kong with Isabel. Give him a little oink. Isabel? Oink, oink, oink. There it is. She's my little piggy. So I'm super stoked. We're going to be joining special guest Alan Roger Currie in a minute over Skype. So hopefully the internet quality will be okay. Hong Kong's pretty cool. Yeah, I just came from Macau and it was pretty disgusting. It was just, I didn't like it a lot. I was playing poker out there. The action wasn't good and just, I don't know, this is going to be racist, but hey, we're all a little bit racist, especially me. Chinese people were pissing me off, man. They were rude. They just don't give a shit. They're going around spitting and horking all the time. Literally, they'll just be sitting there on the table. They'll cough in your face. They won't cover up. I just didn't like it, and the look on everyone's face was like they just all look grumpy, like they're all about to be executed. That's the best way I can think of it. They're all waiting to be shot any minute now, and that's all there is to it. It was really sad, so I didn't really like Macau. But Hong Kong seems to be pretty cool. I'm just doing a program tomorrow. I haven't really seen much of the city, but so far, friendly people, good food, stuff to do. The internet works, yes. So I think it's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna have a good time here, but I'll definitely know after the weekend is finished. But it's cool to be in Asia. So I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna hit up Seoul in South Korea, which is gonna be sweet, and then I'm gonna head over to Tokyo, Japan. Super stoked about Japan. I always had an obsession with Japanese girls. Like in my early PUA days, I'd be like, Japanese girls are so hot and tiny, and I had a phase. And now I think, I'm not like in the yellow fever anymore, but I do still like them. And then I'm going to go to Taipei to speak at an event. I might mention that a little bit more later on. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. And instead of blabbing, to be honest, just want to get Alan on because I'm all excited to talk to Alan. It's going to be sick. So let's not waste any time. Let me get on the Skype and give him a call right now. Here we go. Let's hope he picks up. Well. Look who we have here. If it isn't the one and only ARC, baby. Tick, tick, boom, mom, coming down these direct streets, coming at you. I was going to do a whole rap there about direct, but then I thought, nah, I can't rap. Who am I kidding? Gonna tell you hot to your face like a miracle. Not gonna do it, Alan. I know you want me to do it, but I'm not gonna do it.
I know you got some, a little bit, like a little bit of rapping talent.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just not black enough in the mouth. I'm black where it counts, Alan, and I make that joke a lot, but not in the rapping department. But anyway, so I think everyone knows who you are. We've done the whole intro thing and explained everything a billion times, but just very quickly, I'll just do a very fast version for me. So just in case somebody randomly goes on YouTube, finds this, and goes, "Who are these people? What is this guy talking about? What is this?" That in sometime in 2007-8, I was running around doing the same stupid stuff everyone was, trying to meet girls. I guess 2007, and then eventually I was like, I'm just gonna not do any recited bullshit and just tell girls they're hot, and that seemed to work. And it seemed I was the only person doing that. And then in 2009, I read Mode 1, and I was like, hey, this stuff makes a lot of sense. There's someone else out there just telling it like it is and not being a fucking idiot. So it was kind of a revelation that not only it existed, but someone had written a book about it that sold a bunch of copies, and people were out there doing this stuff. So Alan is that man, but everyone listening to this already knows that. So I just thought we'd have a little chat. It's exciting times right now. I'll tell you what's been going on in Sasha land. I'm out in Asia, seeing how the Chinese live. And let me tell you, Alan, Chinese people, they get me angry, Alan. They're disgusting. They spit and they hork up all over the place. They don't cover their mouth when they cough. Everyone looks like they're about to be executed. Seriously, they're not happy, Alan. They're not happy people, and I suspect it's because nobody's actually getting laid. That's what I think.
Well, you know what's funny? I one of my recent dating coaching assignments was a guy from Canada, but he grew up in China, and he still has family there. And you would think I would know most of the general characteristics of the major countries and continents of the world, but I never knew this. He told me something interesting. He was talking about he went to visit some family in China, and he had to go through two adjustments. He said first, when he got there, he said the air, and he basically told me this as if it's common knowledge among people. I never knew this. He said the air quality is so bad that your body has to almost like go through an adjustment. And then he said when he left and came back to Canada, his body went through an even lengthier adjustment. He said he was like sick for weeks because his body had to readjust to cleaner, better quality air. Because he said, yeah, the air in China is just. I never knew that. I or if I did, I must have forgot. But yeah, he said it's just bad. So since you're there, I mean, is it that? Is it really
shocking?
bad?
But that's China like Beijing and like the big ass cities. I'm in Hong Kong, which is very westernized, so it's not that bad.
Oh, okay.
They've got like laws and stuff that don't allow them to that. But yeah, and also like even Paris, there was a thing in the news just last week that maybe 2 weeks ago or whatever that Paris smog was so bad it was causing like serious health problems, all kinds of issues. People couldn't see the Eiffel Tower. It was that smoggy. It's crazy.
Wow.
And what's really depressing is that all the technology to have vehicles that don't run on oil is already around. They've just been suppressing it for the last 100 years because they can't make money off free energy. So they want everyone using oil. But slowly, this stuff, people are starting to make this stuff on their own, and it's getting out there. So hopefully, 10 years from now, or maybe sooner, people will just stop buying oil and will start refitting their cars to run on other sources. But yeah, this is all happening because people are making money off it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing as the health podcast. Same shit. But speaking of health, the other juicy thing is, so I did a fast. I talked about this earlier in the podcast. I did a fast, so I basically didn't have it was basically a detox, so I didn't eat solid food at all for a week, and you have these shakes that clear out your system, and then twice a day you do a kalima where they stick a pipe up your ass and run water through your colon, and it like gets all the shit that's stuck in there out. So that was a good time.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
But it's awesome. You feel really clear. Your body gets rid of all the toxins because it uses up all the energy that you would normally use processing food. It uses it to like clear out all the toxins and poisons, and it flushes everything out, which is great. And and you just find out how addicted you are to food when you don't eat for a week because you're starving for a few days, and after a while you adjust to it, and then after the program, food is delicious and amazing. And you just realize that when you're hungry, you don't have to eat. It's like a suggestion. So you really, before the fast, I feel my hunger controlled me, but now I'm totally in control of it. Like I can just not eat for a day, too. Doesn't bother me. But before I'd be like, I'm hungry, I gotta eat right now, and you just end up overeating, and it's actually pretty bad. So I feel really happy now.
Yeah, I want to first of all give you public kudos for that podcast that you and Ryan. I want to say you did 2 of them.
Yeah.
About healthy eating. I mean, I know most of your followers and listeners are used to you talking about, of course, things to do with approaching women and conversing with women and attracting and seducing women. But I personally found those podcasts very informative and very enlightening. And I know you had talked to me, individually, privately about a lot of these same issues, but I thought that was very good, and I hope the vast majority of your listeners and followers really paid attention. Because the biggest point you emphasize is that people need to realize the food industry is not like this in their office thinking, wow, can we get Joe and Julie to live a healthier life? No, they're thinking about money. They're thinking about making more money, and they will feed us whatever bullshit that they can if it means them making more money.
Exactly, and it's really the same thing in every industry. The same thing about, like I said, them suppressing any free energy source, suppressing healthy food that will cost them more to produce. The seduction industry, same thing. It's like why would you take away someone's fear, have them grow a pair of balls, and start having them approach women. Because if they start doing that, what product are you going to sell them? You know, I mean, like nothing. Like I don't get repeat customers. If somebody does training with me and they start going out and getting laid, what am I going to sell them? Hey, bro, I know I know you banged, 2 girls this week and you got a regular girl you're fucking all the time. But hey, let me sell you this other thing for fucking 10. Well, who's going to give me more money? There's no point. That's it. You're done. You're getting laid when you want to, and you're talking to girls. There's nothing else. So that's why they do all these products that they don't actually help you get laid. They just actually they cater to your fear. Here's how you talk to girls and 100% not get rejected. Don't hit on her. You can maybe have sex without ever putting your ego on the line and never get rejected. Yeah, but you're also never going to get laid. That's the problem. If you're never going to get rejected, you're never going to get laid. But people will just buy this shit over and over, hoping that some piece of information is eventually going to help them, but it won't. You got to grow a pair of fucking balls and talk to girls. So it's the same fucking scam in this industry as everyone else. How do you make money and keep customers for life instead of how do you make money and help people? And there you go.
Yeah. Well, on those examples you just gave, this is what I tell guys. When whoever pitches, you can be successful with women without ever being rejected. I like to use the baseball analogy. I say that's like telling somebody, hey, I can teach you how to be the league's home run champion without ever striking out. That would never, ever happen, like, ever. There's no way you would ever be able to hit 400, 500, 600 home runs in a season without ever striking out. So, it's a ridiculous notion to think that you can be successful with women without being rejected. And as you know from our conversations, that's one big thing I'm about, is not just helping men overcome their fear of rejection or overcoming their fear of criticism, but changing what Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, refers to as their paradigm, which is essentially just another word for changing someone's perspective. I like to change guys' paradigm on rejection itself. Because, again, and I'm sure some of your listeners have heard this a million times, but, yeah, rejection is not the big enemy that most guys think it is. You need to actually embrace rejection. Like, I don't particularly care for rejection. It's not that I like rejection, but I'm not afraid of it. It's the difference between disliking something and being afraid of it. And I am not afraid of rejection. Rejection is never the end of the world, and in many cases, it saves you so much time and so much money, because what the guys need to also realize is that here's kind of one of my main tenets, and of course you know this, a lot of other guys know this, but maybe some people listening right now might not know this, but you cannot always treat women on face value. That's one of my biggest things. And what I mean by that is that some guys think if they converse with a woman for, say, a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and that woman is smiling and laughing and generally giving them a positive reaction, that means that they're progressing, that they're earning brownie points, and that they're basically getting somewhere with that woman. And on the flip side, a lot of guys think if they converse with a woman and she frowns or offers criticisms of various aspects of their behavior, or lighthearted or serious insults, that means that they're crashing and burning. And that is just simply not true. Some of the women in my life who've given me the most positive reactions and the highest degree of compliments are women that I've never ever dated and never ever fucked. And on the flip side, some of the women who've given me some of the most, what most people would call a very negative reaction and an adverse response to many things that I said, were the women that I not only had sex with, but many times had sex with them extremely quickly. So you can't take people on face value, because there's so much social programming that affects our behavior, and particularly the way women think and behave, that you just, so.
Yeah, that's a fucking big point. And James Marshall actually on the Berlin DVD seminar talks about that point. He says that nice guys are fucking assholes because it's a behavioral strategy for them to get something from women. And that's exactly what women are doing to try and, they're telling us what we want to hear or whatever, trying to get stuff from us without putting out. So it's just everybody's full of shit, basically. The men who are trying to be nice and the women who are who they're dealing with. It's really pretty sad, Alan. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, now, speaking of James, I heard you guys' podcast. And, I heard that little lighthearted jab at me.
By who?
It was funny.
I don't even remember.
Huh?
I don't even remember. By James or by me?
No, when you and James were talking, well, there was two comments where my name came up. One, you guys were talking about healthy eating. And James said, yes, in the last couple of direct dating summits, we were all about, healthy eating. And then you said, except for Alan, you just give him a bucket of chicken wings and he's happy. And then both of you all went, mode wings.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I even forgot about that. Yeah, that was funny.
And then James mentioned, which I commented in the comment section, he said, Alan and I have been getting along better and better in each direct dating summit that we've been a part of. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised James would say that publicly. But,
well, actually, you guys, I think both of you talked about that quite a bit, just kind of like where the sort of disagreement was actually in DDS Vegas, which has never been released. But one day it shall be on, and the world will know. But it's actually very, very interesting. Fundamentally, you think you got to tell girls up front, verbally, what's up. And James was saying, no, you don't. You can use your you can use your body language, your intention, all this other stuff. And then of course you disagreed on that point. So yeah, it made for an interesting discussion, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, I've seen James and. I've seen the way he behaves around women, and he can, believe me, if he talks to a girl for 5 minutes, they know what he's after, and he's never said anything about having sex, but he's just, well, he does actually what you do. He gives him really heavy eye contact. He slows down. He's really being sensual. So when he's talking to a girl about meeting up later or going out or going out and meeting up for a drink, whatever, they know what's up. They definitely know what's going on. But on the other hand, most guys will fuck that up because they'll talk to a girl, they won't mention anything, they won't be direct, they can't do the intense stuff because they're new, they won't tell her that she's hot or that she's sexy or she has a nice ass, so girls won't have any fucking idea what's going on, and then they'll be like, what happened, bro? I thought you liked me. So they're not doing anything, they're not giving them intent, and they're not being fucking straight up about it. So I just say for anyone who's new, just tell girls they're fucking sexy, because it's beautiful, because there's not a lot of room for error. They know what's going on, and also you're bound to get rejected, which is great, because then you'll actually deal with it, you'll be okay with it, and then once you actually stop giving a fuck, then you can really start getting some serious pussy. So that's what I say.
Well, as I wrote on that YouTube comment section, I said, lightheartedly, that controversy sells. So listeners, if you want to see a bit of, well, I haven't seen the video, so I don't know if Sasha kept this in, but assuming he did, you will see in the Berlin DVD that there is a moment where there was a big clash of philosophy. Well, first of all, I want to preface, just to touch on James, I've never had any problem with James on a purely personal level. I think he's a great guy, and he's always been entertaining to talk to. So on, just a personal level, me and him have never had any beef or anything. It's just purely on a philosophical level. There's a couple areas that Sasha just touched on that we tend to, but yeah, there was one area when we were in Berlin, if you remember when you did I think it was the end of the second day, you had all the speakers come up and you took questions from the audience. And Arthur, actually, who's in your entourage, asked a question that me and Johnny Soporno were on one end of the argument, and you and James were on the other end. And it's entertaining. I'm not going to go into detail. I'll let people see it for themselves. But it was interesting. It was it's kind of a clash of philosophical differences.
Well, those are always good. Make for good viewing. So we recently put up a juicy clip there of one of your talks. Now, what's a little what kind of sucks is that it's not everyone saw the clip because we're doing a launch. So I put the first one where I'm talking about society and getting out of your zone and fucking waking up to what's actually going on. First clip, so that one on YouTube, people loved it. But then now we're trying to get everyone on our list so we can actually take them through the process and do this proper product launch. And so we put up your video on Vimeo only for the people who are on the list. So if you have no idea what we're talking about Alan's video that just went up, you're on the mailing list, dumbass. Get on the list, and then you will see the video. But yeah, so you said you got some. So on Vimeo, people don't usually comment because it's not really a popular social media platform. It's just for people to sort of put up business videos and presentations. It's really high quality, which is why we use it. But you mentioned you got some. Why don't you tell them a little bit briefly about the clip? In fact, you know what? You talking about it briefly will take half an hour. I'll tell them about the clip, and then you can tell people about the comments. I know. Listen, I've known Alan for a while now, so I know where I need him to, where he can go off for a while, and I know when Alan needs to be controlled. It's like if we walk into a KFC, I can't just let him go and hang out where the chickens are because no one else is going to eat. You see what I'm saying? So that's Alan for you. So the clip was just basically some of Alan's stories about his some crazy seductions he had, where he would meet a girl in some random situation very briefly, and next thing you know, she's blowing him in some public place, which is just outrageous. So those were the clips, and they were the stories that if you've been to the DDS events, you've heard these stories and you've talked. They're great. But yeah, tell us about some of the comments. You've got an email to you. Apparently, you had some interesting ones.
Well, if I have to be fair and objective, I actually got a lot of positive comments, but I got at least a handful of critical comments.
Oh, here we go.
And
give me the juicy ones, Alan. Forget the positive ones. I'm tired of it's so great. You guys are helping me. Fuck that. I want to hear everybody who hates our guts, Alan. Tell me those ones. Those ones are entertaining. I'm bored of Sasha. I watched your videos, and now I'm having sex with girls. You know what? I'm tired of all the guys getting laid from our teachings, Alan. Bring us the guys that hate our guts. I want to hear from the guys who hate our fucking guts, Alan, because I'm tired of the good stuff. So let's go. Give me the worst one right now. I can't even wait.
Well, actually, the harshest criticism of that clip you put out was from my own, and I'm very close with my older brother. He was basically the one who first encouraged me to write Mo One or turn it into a book. He did not like the clip, or at least portions of the clip. He did not like it at all, and I understood his point. The main thing he didn't like was when he said he had two criticisms. One, he said the stories I chose to tell were stories that he wouldn't want any man to emulate because, as I admit on the clip, one almost got me arrested. So he was like, why would you tell a story where you almost got arrested? You wouldn't want any of your clients or students to exhibit behavior that would, come close to getting them arrested. And I was like, yeah, that's true.
Well, I would disagree with his comment completely because it's a demonstration of what is possible. No one is saying do exactly this. I have a story about how I met some girl and had sex with her. 12 minutes later, whatever, in some ridiculous situation. That's what happened to me, and it illustrates what's possible. So it gives people an idea. Well, if Alan can get blown in a grocery store in 12 minutes, hey, you know what? I could probably come up to a girl in a coffee shop and tell her she's good looking. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it just gives them this perspective of what's possible. And number two, entertaining stories are entertaining, goddammit, and they're meant to be told.
Yeah, well,
and as a comedian, that's pretty much what it is.
Now that you mention it, me and my brother don't always agree on everything. Well, what I told him, what my intent was, and I think you know this, is that, and this relates also to his second criticism. He just felt like it came across as a little braggadocious on my part. But the two stories I told, and listeners, if you watch the clip, you know what two stories I'm talking about. Well, since this is a public clip, I can tell you. One, I'm talking about that I met a woman. I was visiting L.A., and I was getting ready to leave L.A., and I met this woman who was on a public phone. Matter of fact, you don't hardly see those things anymore because of cell phones. But she was on, what do you call those? The phones you put the money in?
Yeah, payphone.
Payphone. Yeah. She was on a payphone. And I looked at her. I first gave her kind of just a flirtatious glare, and she kind of smirked back. And then once she got off the phone, we talked, and I was straightforward with her. I told her, well, she asked me, was I coming in or leaving? And I told her I was going to be flying out in about 2.5 hours. And so I straightforwardly told this woman that I wanted her to suck my dick. And as I talk about listeners with these adverse reactions, at first she had an adverse reaction. Hers honestly was more of a lighthearted adverse reaction. It wasn't more serious like I've gotten from some women. But still, she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you would say that to me and you don't know me. And anyway, long story short, we end up talking, and this woman takes me to a stairwell in the LAX airport and sucks my dick. And we got caught by the security personnel because I guess they had some kind of, inconspicuous camera. And so anyway, yeah, she ended up actually, I give her credit. The woman who sucked my dick is the one who talked the security personnel out of pressing charges again, because technically in the States, in most countries, I would assume, that's considered public lewdness or whatever. And and then the second story I tell is when a woman I actually had sex with a woman in a gas station. She was an employee of a gas station. It was late at night. It was about 2:30 in the morning, and I was coming from a party in Chicago, and I was mode one with a woman. At first, she had an adverse reaction, resisted, but then she ended up inviting me to fuck her in the gas station. And so I was going to say my point with those stories was not so much to on one end say, hey, I'm Alan Roger Currie, look what I can do. I can seduce women ultra quick, or to challenge men to do super bold stuff that could border on them getting arrested. But to point out that a lot of men have a bad habit of expecting the worst, and even more so visualizing the worst. And I don't know if you guys know who are listening, there's a lot of power in visualization. There's a lot of power in visual. If you visualize yourself, things going wrong with you doing something, more than likely things are going to go wrong. If you visualize things going right with yourself, say with an interaction with a woman, more than likely things are going to go right. And so the point I was trying to make to the guys in Berlin was that I get so many guys who will say, Alan, I want to be mode one, but I visualize a woman cursing me out. I visualize a woman slapping me. I visualize a woman throwing a drink in my face. And I'm like, why are you visualizing that? Why? Why? Why aren't you visualizing talking to a woman and then her taking you by the hand and leading you somewhere and sucking your dick? Why aren't you visualizing a woman having a great conversation with you and then inviting you back to her place so that you can fuck her? Why aren't you visualizing? And so, because that's what I do. That's kind of part of my Mo One magic is when I interact with women, I'm always visualizing them responding favorably to me, reciprocating my sexual desires and interests, and even more specifically, I visualize us having sex within a matter of minutes wherever I am. I could be like in McDonald's. And if I'm talking to a woman in McDonald's, I shouldn't say McDonald's because we're about healthy eating. So we want to stay away from that place, even though they have salads and stuff now. But yeah, if I'm in a restaurant or a fast food place and I meet a woman, one of the things I'll do is I'll scope out a place. Some guys, when I tell them, they kind of chuckle like, really? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'll scope out a place like, okay, if I talk to this woman and say she does decide to suck my dick, where would I want to take her? Like, is there a secluded room in this place? Is her car or my car nearby? Is it somewhere else? Because, yeah, I've either fucked or got my dick sucked in some of the most public places ever. I mean, and because here's the thing: once you get a woman's pussy wet, women become much more bolder, much more smart. So if you're talking to a woman in a normal state of mind and say, you said, hey, why don't you suck my dick in the stairwell of this hotel? More than likely, they're going to be like, are you crazy? I would never do that. But when you get a woman's pussy wet, they think like that. They'll say, well, wow, is there a stairwell we can go to so I can suck your dick? And yeah, their whole mentality changes. They can become bolder and more likely to be spontaneous.
That's right, and actually, it's interesting because a lot of sort of quote game that guys use is to actually get girls get emotional and flirt with them a lot, so that they sort of changes their state, and then they sort of try and get into the whole so they're manipulating their emotions. Then they get them sort of at some point they try and get them horny, whatever, and they try and but it's when you do that kind of when you use trickery manipulation and try and get a girl back to your house, and then sort of, do some bullshit. That's kind of where you and I both sort of, because they're never actually like, you're fucking sexy, or they're not actually putting their balls on the line. They're just sort of using emotional manipulation and then trying to get girls. Some of them are trying to get girls drunk. Some of them are just trying to get girls back to their house. But in a sense, both, us and those guys sort of understand a fundamental truth, which is women can be completely different and completely horny and just want dick. Like they could basically be cock monsters at some points, and some points completely not. That's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and well, going back to feedback on that clip, a lot of guys, one of the comments I got was that a lot of guys paid attention to, I was talking about getting women's pussies wet. One of my main points in that clip that you released is that I said, a lot of guys put the cart before the horse. They'll talk about fucking a woman without any mention of getting her aroused. And I've always said I think that's the dumbest thing a man can do. I don't ever concentrate on fucking a woman until after I've gotten her aroused. That's always my first priority, is when I talk to a woman, interact with a woman, I'm thinking, how can I get this woman, what can I say to this woman to get her pussy wet? What can I get her to thinking about that will get her pussy wet? And, to toot my horn a little bit, that's one of the compliments I get from women is women will say, Alan, you have a way, you don't just talk dirty, but you talk dirty to women in a way that provokes visualizations. Like I had a woman on my show, this very attractive Asian woman. Her name is An, a variation of Ann. And it was so funny because she was on my show basically talking about, we were exchanging talking about different issues. And she said, yeah, Alan, I know your MO. I know you're all about talking dirty women. I got to tell you straight up, I don't like men talking dirty to me. I actually hate men talking dirty to me. And she said it with emphasis. I said, really? She said, oh, man, I just cannot stand when men say X-rated things to me. And so right as she's saying that, I say, so I don't remember my exact words, but I just started talking shit to her. I said, so you telling me that if I was to talk about spreading your legs and put my tongue all on your pussy and circling my tongue on your clit, and her whole vocal demeanor started changing. She slowly started having a reaction of, oh. And sure enough, she ends up acknowledging that, okay, Alan, yeah, you are turning me on. And I was like, but I thought you just said a few minutes ago you didn't like men talking dirty. She said, well, Alan, you're different. I said, I knew in my mind that I am for most guys, but I wanted her to explain. I said, in what way? She said, well, see, a lot of guys think talking dirty is just blurting out really just raunchy stuff. Matter of fact, I'm going to take us back to the Las Vegas Direct Dating. So I want to say you were in the room, but you might have not been. But do you remember when there was like maybe 2, 3, as many as 4 guys impersonating me? And they were kind of doing it in I laughed. It was humorous. As a matter of fact, even James, when he got on stage, did kind of a lighthearted impersonation of me. Now, the problem with it, I would say all of these impersonations were funny, but they were so way off base because a lot of people had this, and I guess I will take some blame. I must have contributed to this in some kind of way. But a lot of guys had this impression that when I talk dirty to women that I'm like really loud, like I'm a like I got a megaphone in my hand, or like I'm the master of ceremonies for some, stage production. And so, because all these fellas, when they were imitating me, they would say, "Okay, this is my version of Alan Roger Currie," and they would act like they walking a woman. They'd say, "Hey, baby, I want to fuck the shit out of you. I want to squeeze your kitties." And I was like, "Okay, where's that coming from?" And anyway, that's what this woman was saying. That type of impersonation is exactly what turned this woman on. Oh, she said most guys, when they talk dirty to me, number one, just in terms of volume, they do it real loud and like they're yelling at me. And she said there's nothing sexy about that. She said, whereas Alan, when you were just talking dirty to me, your voice got lower. It had a smooth flow to it. And that's what I've talked about in Vegas, matter of fact. I had actually at least a handful of guys in Vegas. They told me, they said, Alan, that portion where you were talking about how you seduce women and how you control your voice, they were like, that was worth the price of this event just by itself. Because they were like, before coming here, I did not know that. I literally did think you were this kind of loud talking guy who would go up to one and say, "Hey, what's your name? What my name's Alan. I want to fuck you."
Alan, that's great promotion for DDS Vegas, but we're launching DDS Berlin. You're doing it all ass backwards.
Well, no, I talked about that too. No, I talked about it too.
Now everyone's going to email me, Sasha, we want to buy DDS Vegas. When's it coming out? We don't want this Berlin shit.
No, well, listeners, I can assure you, I talked about the same thing in both, in Berlin and as well as New York. But yeah, now I've had my moments. I won't say there's never been exceptions. There's been a handful of exceptions where I would say standing 2 or 3 feet away from a woman and said it in what I would call a normal volume voice, something really X-rated or whatever. But the vast majority of the time, yeah, I'm in a woman's left ear. And so anyway, but I kind of segued. But I was talking about, the point I was making is that you got to first, it's all about getting the woman's pussy wet. It's all about getting the woman's pussy wet. Not about fucking. It's like somebody going to the grocery store and buying some food that has to be prepared, and you're thinking about eating the food, but you're skipping the fact that you got to cook it, or if at minimum heat it up if it needs to be heated up.
I like that. That analogy. But suffice to say, that is definitely a huge mistake guys make when they go, being direct doesn't work, because they're not actually turning girls on, and they're just saying some line they think is direct, and obviously that doesn't work. Fortunately, you cover that extensively in the Berlin seminar that's being released on April 20th. Isn't that amazing, Alan? It's all going to be there on the DVD. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it's now and we're talking about Berlin. I got to tell your listeners, Now, I'll preface this by telling you listeners, sometimes Sasha does get on my damn nerves. I'll let you guys know that. He has moments, because he knows this. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but Sasha has a split personality. And most of you who know him probably already know that. But he's probably publicly perceived as this really lighthearted, gregarious guy who's just full of fun. But when you're around the business side of Sasha, that's when you see a totally different side. So he's a character in that respect. But I have to say that Sasha touched me in Berlin. He simultaneously made
you said
me
that was going to be just between you and me.
And touch. Yeah, see, I knew he would play on words. No, he really did. He touched me because. Oh, that's another thing my brother didn't like, and a couple of my close friends, of course, they lightheartedly ribbed me on. If there was nothing else to do with why they didn't like it, they said, "Dang, Alan, man, you look so chunky in that video." And when we were in Berlin, Sasha was like, "Alan, you got any, some like gym shoes, fitness shoes?" I was like, "Yeah, it just so happened I did bring some." I said, "But why?" He said, we're about to do some stairs. And he just, within a matter of 10 seconds, became Alan Roger Currie's personal trainer. And he had us do these steps that I thought I was in the first week of boot camp for the U.S. Army, because I was about to throw up because he would not let me stop. Every time I was about to say, he'd say, no, Alan. We're going to do one more flight. And of course, he was lying to me. He was like, we're going to do one more flight. Just do one more flight. Then I would do one more flight. He'd say, okay, Alan, I've decided to do just one more flight. Just one more. And anyway, he wore me out. But he actually told me, he said, Alan, I would like to be friends with you for like the next 10 years, the next 15 years. And that will not happen if you keep eating bullshit food, not exercising, and then we'll have a direct dating summit where we have a eulogy where we're like, yes, we all remember Alan Roger Currie, and he stroked out and had a heart attack, and it was like funny, but it sincerely, I'm not saying it's lightly, it actually touched me that he was like, dude, you know, I love you, you're my friend, and I just want to encourage you, man, you got to start eating better. You got to start exercising more regularly. And sure enough, if you remember, Sasha, when we went to New York, without Sasha even asking me or provoking me to, I did the stairs literally every day when I was in New York. Every day we were there. I went up and down the stairs, and now back at home, I do the stairs. And yeah, so, you know, that's how Sasha is. He just doesn't care about guys getting pussy. Well, he ties the two in because he, as he said in one of his podcasts, he said, how can you be fucking if you're not healthy? You got to be healthy to fuck. And it's the truth. You do. You have to be healthy to fuck.
Alan, I can't believe, no offense, you already know I love you and everything because you just said so, but I don't see how you've done so much fucking. You've done more fucking than, like, I don't know, 100 normal guys combined. And I just don't see how you've done it.
Well, I will say this,
and frankly, not to be racist, I think being black has something to do with it.
Sasha always got to have a black joke in there. No, but, well, no, I have had my moments. I will confess. I don't know if I should confess this on there, but I'm probably going to. But yeah, there have been at least a few episodes I've had with women where I was fucking them. Then all of a sudden I just had to like stop, and they'd be like, "Is something wrong?" I'd be like, "Baby, I'm just tired."
Yep.
So of course, when you're out of shape, you basically lay on your back and you let them ride you, and.
Well, I've had to stop too, but not because I was tired, but because I prematurely ejaculated, Alan. That's happened to me a few times, mainly when I was younger, and I was in my 20s. Now it's not so much anymore.
But I mean, of course, you've seen photos of me when I was in my 20s, most of my 30s. And, if I say so myself, I was, I've had, definitely, when I was young, I was all about health and fitness. I used to, jog 3 to 6 miles a day, and I generally was eating, pretty healthy.
It's fucked up, though, because people really just ignore the most important things, right? They ignore their dating lives. They ignore the health. They're just running around trying to make money or make other people happy. And it's ridiculous. I just don't see how people can really ignore the stuff that's going to make them the happiest. And do all the stuff that makes them unhappy just because other people want them to. It's really, 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 really unbelievable.
Yes. And see, that's where Mo One and Sasha's, his own philosophies definitely come together, is because one of the main principles of Mo One is that you can't be a conformist. You can't just go with the crowd. You can't just exhibit behavior just because society says you to. And I always tell Sasha, if of all the things I like about him, if I had to pick the number one thing I like about him, is that he's a free spirit. He's not about being controlled by society's conventions and norms and just doing stuff because other people say you should do it. He thinks for himself, and that's really what all of us should be doing, is thinking for ourselves, like, okay, is this behavior benefiting me? Is it really making me happy? And the reality is, when you just following what your friends do or following what society says you should do, I mean, in some respects, I always say, I want to give credit. There is good social program. For example, we're socially programmed to
Don't
stop
shit
at a
in the
red light.
supermarket. No matter how bad you have to do not shit on the supermarket floor, Alan, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Things like that. Don't shit on the supermarket floor, stop at a red light, things that revolve around just common decency and safety. Those are things I generally agree with. But, the things like, for example, related to my one, people saying, oh, you should never talk about sex with a woman in your first conversation with her. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. Most of the pussy I've gotten from women was because I was talking about fucking in the first conversation. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, so anyway, you gotta learn to be a free spirit. You gotta learn to truly recognize what behavior is gonna make you happy. And that's what led me to my one. Is because I wasn't happy being, as I call it, mode 2 and mode 3. I wasn't happy, particularly when I got rejected. When I got rejected, I hated the feeling of being rejected after being real indirect or real vague and ambiguous.
I just gotta agree with you. I think it all really comes down to happiness. I don't think people think about that when they get into this stuff, but really, like, why are you reading books about or watching YouTube videos or whatever about women? Because you're not happy in your dating life, and so people recognize that. They subconsciously, because they start reading books and going on doing this research, but then they completely some guys will actually do that, and the other guys will be completely unhappy. They won't even bother reading books or doing videos. And some of the guys who will realize it and start reading books and whatever, trying to improve, they'll completely ignore the fact that they're unhealthy, or they hate their job and what they do every day, or they hate other relationships they're in, or one of a million things that they're doing just because they're supposed to, or because someone told them to, or because whatever. And it really just comes down to, like, what is going to make you happy, and why are you not doing that? Yep. That's it. It's the same in everything. Dating, everything. Pick a topic. It's like, well, if you're doing something that's not making you happy, why are you doing it?
Exactly.
You got to ask those questions. And so, as I've gone through this journey, obviously, it's just not about getting laid anymore for me. It's really just about waking people up to the reality that we're in, and creating your own reality where you're happy and you're doing what you want with your life. So dating is a big part of that, but so is health, so is money, so is relationships, so is doing something that you love so that you feel good every day of your life. So yeah, that's what it's all about, baby. And that's what I'm
I had a
towards.
great time in Berlin. The people were great. I loved hanging out with the one stupid thing I did, and I should have known this from actually the first direct dating summit when I was in London, is that if you're from the United States and you're listening to this, one thing you have to know, if you haven't traveled in European countries.
When you meet people, just say you're from Canada.
No, I was going to say, like, see, here, when we watch the news and they get to the sports, they talk about a wide variety of sports. Basketball, baseball, football. Over there, it's all about what we call soccer, but they call it football. They actually think our football is a wimpy form of rugby. And that was the only down moment in Berlin. I was having dinner with Boris and Arthur, and all these people were packed in to watch, again, what I would call a soccer match. And matter of fact, that relates to what I said. I said, wow, soccer is really popular over here. Man, that whole restaurant got quiet. And I got some of the most evil glares in my life, like, how you American, don't you dare call it soccer. This is football. But no, the German people were great. I enjoyed being around them. They were very health-oriented. I saw a lot of people running on bikes. Sasha himself, one day I was there, had me walking for at least like 4 hours. I was like, dude, what is this? Like some kind of walking marathon? But no, it was a great time. I think the guy, here was the most wildest thing I got to talk about real quickly that happened, that's never happened to me anywhere, even here in the States, is, well, yeah, I guess it's happened a couple times in the States, but they usually wrote me on Facebook or something. But I had a guy, here I am in a country I've never been to before, a city I've never been to before, had a guy recognize me from the street. That was just totally wild, and Sasha was part of it, because this guy, what happened, we were doing a direct dating summit, and the guy was just walking down the street. He didn't even know about the direct dating summit. He happened to be walking down the street, and the venue we were at has this big window that you could basically see from the street. And he said he saw me talking. He was like, wow, is that? Because he had just purchased my books like 5 weeks before that event. So he'd become familiar with me. And he says, is that Alan Roger Currie talking? So he goes to the door. I didn't actually see all this, but he told me he went to the door and asked Sasha, hey, is that Alan Roger Currie? And Sasha was like, yeah. And he was like, hey, I want to hear him talking. Of course, Sasha was like, well, you can't just come here for free. And then he got in, and he ended up taking me to lunch. But the odds of that happening, man, some dude just randomly walking down the street and sees me talking and recognizes me.
Well, it's a little bit higher than you think, because the reason he bought the book, I would assume, is because I've been promoting to the German people that we're going there. So probably he heard about that, decided not to go to the event, but went, well, I'll spend, $10, $15 or whatever to get the book. But if it was completely random, like he didn't even hear about me, nothing, then I would be a bit more impressed, yeah.
Well, that's what he told me.
Really, huh?
I don't know if he told you something different, but he said he had no knowledge of the direct dating summit event. Huh. He said he just happened to be walking down that particular street that day. He said he didn't. Yeah, he said he didn't know anything about the direct dating summit, and he just happened to look in the window, and he saw me, because he said he found out about my books from a message board.
That's shocking, because you and me both know you're using a picture from when you were 30. So I don't see how I don't see how he was able to make the connection, but. You crack up because it's true. It's so true.
Oh man, that was Sasha's humor. Yeah, that was a good one, dude.
Alan Paul. Well, listen, this has been good. This actually, we're just coming up on an hour, and I did a bunch of talking previously, so it's going to be a big one. But let me say this. It is always wonderful chatting with you, and fortunately we're going to chat some more on the 20th. So it's coming up soon, April 20th. I'm going to reveal. We're going to basically launching the event. So I'm going to tell everybody in a live webinar with special guest Alan, and I'm going to talk about what's on the DVD. I'm going to talk about a bunch of amazing bonuses people are getting. I'm going to reveal the price of the DVD. I keep saying DVD. It's actually a seminar. It's all download, but DVD just sounds nice, so I just said. So basically we're going to make a whole thing of it, and it'll be fun. We're going to answer some questions on that podcast, and you and me are also going to discuss a couple of the top things that guys do wrong. So we're going to dig into a little bit of it, and if we've got time, we'll take some questions as well. So it'll be fun. We'll do a big fat launch. We'll chat to the guys, and it should be a big day. There's a lot of people, many people who have joined the pre-launch list at Direct Dating Summit /Berlin, and if anyone's listening to this and they didn't see the second launch video, you can still see it, and you can still see the third one as well, but you have to be on my mailing list. So just go to, you can actually join either list. You can join the normal list on the Direct Dating Summit website, or just go to sashapway.com/Berlin, and you will be on the list, and you will get all the updates. So that's going to be fun, and hopefully one day soon, after this launch, we will announce another Direct Dating Summit somewhere on planet Earth.
That'd be exciting. And I just want to quick...
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to quickly say, yeah, guys, really, I don't, don't want to come across as sales pitchy. I don't, because I'm all about being genuine. But I really think you will benefit from purchasing the Berlin seminar. I mean, not only respect to myself, but It was just a lot of great speakers, a lot of great knowledge and wisdom that was expressed. And for those who might be thinking, well, I already have the London DVD, so I already know it. No, it's not true. Some things might be the same, like say with myself, but there's a lot of things I say that are different. And I would say the same is true of all the speakers. There's some knowledge and wisdom that is unique to each direct dating summit we've had. So that is what makes it really worth it for you to get this Berlin seminar.
Also, I've hired a small German girl who, not Isabel, a different one, who she's going to come around and everybody who buys it gets a hand job. So that's a bonus right there. I don't care where you are. Next time she's in your country, she's going to do a little tour, and everyone gets a hand job. Isabel got excited. She thought it was her, but it's not you, Piggy. It's going to be different.
Now, wait a minute. Let me ask you, is Isabel's part on there in the seminar?
Well, she was kind of part of everything because you had her up there, I had her up there, Bad Boy had her up there, so she's kind of like the lead female of the whole event.
Ah, okay, yeah, because that was actually, I can tell you, listeners, for me, that was one of the most interesting portions. I won't go into detail, but you got to see it. But Isabel, when she got up and talked about her own, dating life and experiences with men, that was very enlightening because a lot of men, we tend to assume that women always have it easy, that it's us men who got to overcome obstacles and challenges, and women can just kind of sit back and take it easy and just let the men come to them. But, she gave a really nice, she has a nice piece in the Berlin seminar. Nice piece.
Yeah, her whole story is fascinating. The fact that she's just sexy babe, and no German guys would fucking talk to her. She couldn't basically get laid, so she ended up taking a boot camp with me, so she could actually approach guys, which is really 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 sad comment on German guys. If you're a German, shame on you for not going and approaching girls. But it's the same everywhere. So basically, if you're a man, shame on you because most of you are pussies. But it's a great story and. Yeah. Women are just as unhappy as men, and it's because men aren't fucking coming up to them and talking to them. So it's pretty fucking. Everybody suffers, It's lose-lose when men just sit around and fucking play video games.
Yep. Exactly.
And I think that's a beautiful note to end on. No matter what you do, whether you get this amazing product or not, stop being a bitch. Women want some dick. Do your job and go and give them some dick. God damn it.
There you go. I co-sign with that all the way.
See? So let me do a quick plug here for you, Alan, because I know you do good work. Alan does Skype coaching. I've had guys actually work with Alan after working with me, and they always say it was great. So, Alan, real quick, if guys want to get in touch with you, they want to get over their shit, they want to start being more direct, how do they get in touch with you? What do you do over those calls, and how do they get in touch with you?
Advice@mode1.net. Advice@MODEONE.net. That's how you contact me. I offer both Skype consultations as well as one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you want me to help you out, if you want, you've read my books, but you want more knowledge and wisdom and guidance, check out the Skype consultations and or the one-on-one dating coaching sessions.
Beautiful. Highly recommended and effective. Alan, beautiful having you on the podcast. Looking forward to seeing you on April 20th and in future events all over the place. Piggy, say goodbye. Say goodbye to Alan Roger Currie.
Oink, oink, oink. Goodbye, Alan.
Goodbye, Isabel. Good to hear your voice.
Isabel's my little piggy.
Yeah.
She's my little piggy, and I'm...
We're both piggies.
And I'm Big Piggy.
Yeah.
Other people have things that are like romantic, like I don't know. They call each other sweetheart or honey. I'm just like, come here, piggy, and she's like, look, you're such a big piggy. And then when she does something clever, I'm like, you're such a clever piggy, aren't you? And whenever I touch her nose, she has to go.
Oink, oink, oink.
Yep. And if I'm in a supermarket and I don't know where she is, I'm just like, oink, 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 and then I'll hear,
oink, oink,
and I know it's her.
Yeah. Exactly.
She's my little piggy.
That's classic shit, man.
Alan's just like, bitch, I'm hungry. Come in here and make me some food and suck my dick. Which also works.
I'm sure that works.
That's the recurring Alan Roger Currie joke. That's what that is.
Isabel, you make sure and suck Sasha's dick really good.
Yeah, I'm keeping him healthy. I'm cooking him food. He has to make some exercises.
Yeah, she keeps me on track. So actually, having a girl
I massage him.
Having a girl around is very useful, actually, because every time I wake up, she's like, "Do your exercise." I'm like, "God damn it!" That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you and Isabel exercising on the floor in Berlin. That was very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. All right, you two, enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and we'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. See you soon.
All righty.
Peace.
All right, folks. Always a pleasure with ARC. I guess that's a wrap for this week. If you're in Asia, come and check me out. I'm going to Korea. I'm going to Japan. And I'm also speaking at the All Asia Pickup Summit in Taipei, May 2nd to 4th. So if you're in the area, come check it out. The link below is where you need to go to get all the information you need. Love you guys, and see you next time. Sasha.